All the betting news you need to know in less than 20 minutes. We have to go through 7 games in 10 minutes here. Let's start with Jacksonville and Minnesota. 10 in the morning, Pacific time, NFL Network. Vikings 4.5 and 40 against Jacksonville. Zimmer's been terrific, 14-3 straight up, 12-5 ATS in the preseason. And the Vikings coming off the 42-28 win against Denver.
Yeah, sure. We talk about these two teams that finished number 1 and number 2 in the NFL in total defense last week. Last year, I should say. They were in joint practices all week. Mike Zimmer's quote, "I would consider it again. I think it depends on the team," and things like that. Both teams were very respectful of one another. There was really no fighting, nothing like that, no trash talking. It went really smooth. Have not gotten accurate QB information yet for this game. The Jaguars, Bortles, Kessler, and Lee in their quarterback rotation. The Vikings have Cousins, Simeon, Slaughter, and Pujols.
All right, no opinion on that one. Opinion on this. Look at this movement. Shame on the league here. This is ridiculous. Rams taking on the Raiders, 1 o'clock Pacific. The total opened 42.5. It's 38.5 now, and the Rams opened 3. It's down to 1. Why is it a bad job by the league? They play week 1 Monday night in Oakland to start the season. Now, Gruden's like, I can't believe this. Well, it happened 2 years ago with the same team. The Raiders played the Titans in the 3rd preseason game, and then they met week 3 of the regular season.
Yeah, week 1 is a rarity. You don't see teams meeting in August and then meet 1, but the league always finds a way to screw the Raiders. They find a way. This is one of them. Gruden, like I said, I've never seen that. I was in the league a long time. I don't remember that. What are you going to do about it, right? Well, just adjust and adapt. Same for them as it is for us. Gruden also saying you're going to see a lot of players playing for a long period of time that are going to get a chance to show us they belong here. That's how we're looking at this game. Read between the lines. What does that mean? Not going to see a whole lot of starters. Not necessarily going to see a whole lot of backups for Oakland. This is a chance for the third stringers, the guys that are trying to get a roster spot to get there. But, McVay, doesn't sound like he's particularly interested in showing a lot here. I expect vanilla game plans for both teams, and that's why we've seen all the money come in on the under for this matchup. Two teams don't want to show anything because they're playing each other in a game that means something 3 weeks from now.
Texans and the 49ers. Texans at home, 2.5, 41 the total. Mullins played well for the 49ers in the come-from-behind win against the Cowboys, which was a high-scoring game. Shanahan now 4-1 ATS since taking over with the 49ers, 4-1 straight up, rather, since taking over with the 49ers. The Texans got rid of Morris, the quarterback. You can cross him off the list. They cut him earlier in the week. Any thoughts on this one?
Well, for the Tech, again, let's go through the QBs on the roster. For the 49ers, Garoppolo, Beathard, Mullins, and Hennigan. For the Texans, Deshaun Watson, Brandon Weeden, Joe Webb, the top 3. And look, regular season, this is a fun game. We got Deshaun Watson against Garoppolo and two teams that are poised to have breakout campaigns. Preseason, we're not likely to see that much in that regard. The questions about Shanahan talking about Garoppolo. You want everyone to be perfect, so my answer will never be yes. Is Garoppolo where Shanahan wants him to be? He's been working his tail off, going through the process. We've been through the play install completely. Now we're starting to isolate a little bit on coverages we're going against, but I've been real happy with him. That being said, it's still a growing process for San Fran, and it's certainly an offense that takes a long time for people to get acclimated in. There are also the concerns for San Francisco on the offensive line. They're a little bit banged up there. That definitely a concern going up against a Houston Texans team that brings it when it comes to the pass rush. San Fran,
all right,
they won. Yeah. Well, just real quick, the 49ers rallied to win in their preseason opener, a game they didn't deserve to win. I'm not convinced they're going to have that same level of effort and execution in the second half this week.
Tennessee at home, 3-41 against Tampa Bay. Any thoughts on this one?
Well, last year, I've gotten good reports out of Tampa in terms of the practices. Last year, every practice was sluggish and there were problems and guys didn't have enough intensity. And a team that, you play how you practice, they did last year. So this quote, we had some 2-minute situations, some down on the clock situations, Everything was needed field goal except the last couple of needed touchdown plays. I thought I thought the energy faded a little bit right at the end. That was a long practice. Shoot, 2 hours and 40 minutes. That's a little bit longer than we normally practice. So a good day in all. Cutter liking the Bucs practice intensity this year more than last year. But one big concern for Tampa Bay, cluster injuries in the secondary. And with the Titans talking about working on their downfield passing game, cluster injuries in the secondary for Tampa could be a significant concern for Bucs backers or underbackers on Saturday.
All right, here we go. 2 plays in this one. Denver 3.5 and 40.5 at home against the Bears. The Denver money coming in. I got a contact in Denver. He's been at the joint practices. He said Trubisky and Daniel are carving up the Denver defense. Quote, Joseph doesn't have a clue. Although Joseph wants to win these preseason games. They were horrible last week, giving up 42 points against the Vikings. He went 4-0 straight up last year. So he's going to play the starters a lot in this game and then expect to see Kelly and the second unit for the second half. Lynch is terrible. And John Elway also said Chad Kelly deserves the opportunity to work with the number 2s. So it's going to be a lot of the 2s in the second half and a lot of the starters getting some reps in this one. And as far as I like the over to what I said earlier, expect a lot of passes in this one. And I think Trubisky and Daniel will move the ball, and I think Denver will get their fair share of points as well. Support for Denver 3.5 and 40.5, the total 6 o'clock Pacific.
Yeah, and here's a quote from Vance Joseph talking about playing time and a part of the reason why the Broncos are taking some money. Quote, we're going to play quite a bit. Not too much are we exposed, guys. We're going to play. We have to play. We played about 6 or 7 snaps last week on offense and about 14 on defense. So I'm looking about a quarter and a half with our 1s. This is the one that stood out. Our 2s will play until we see progress. We'll play our 3s late. So we could have the Broncos second stringers on the field in the fourth quarter here. I don't know that Chicago's second stringers are going to be on the field that late. That could give Denver a second half edge.
Yep. One more, 7 o'clock Pacific, NFL Network to finish off the triple header. Seahawks take on the Chargers. Los Angeles is 3 minus 120, 39.5 the total. Support for the under here. And Carroll, who had been 34 and 14 ATS career in the preseason, did not cash a ticket last week against the Colts. Penny's out. Offensive line still has issues, and it's not the same quarterback rotation we've seen. Not a lot of guys, not a lot of strength behind Russell Wilson once he leaves.
Well, that's the deal. People give the coach credit. Oh, the coach has this great preseason record. When a coach has good backup quarterbacks or good third-string quarterbacks or QB competitions, a coach will have a great preseason record. That doesn't necessarily translate to a year where the backup QB situation isn't quite as good. And we have seen a lot of under money here. Again, this is 2 teams that are going to play in the regular season. So we can expect, it's not week 1 like Rams Raiders, but teams don't show other teams what they're going to do in the regular season on film in August when they're going to play again. They just don't do it. And you know, it's the Seahawks offensive line was as bad as any that I saw last week. That was as bad a unit. That starting offensive line looked awful. What's the strength for the Chargers? That defensive front is loaded. Whether I don't think Bosa's going to play, doesn't matter. Arizona 0 for 11 on third downs last week. No surprise here if the LA defense once again is a dominant unit in this ballgame.
Chargers played really well Saturday night. The problem was they kept turning the ball over and giving Arizona a short field. It was complete domination, yards, first downs, but 4-1 turnovers and a defensive touchdown for Arizona, and they won that game 24-17.
Like the show? Help us keep the lights on. Please make sure to comment, share, and subscribe to all the Sportsbook Review videos. Thanks so much. Best of luck. Enjoy the game.